and they take the decision. So this is advantage of combining AI/ML with IoT system, where we collect only data. And that's called as predictive maintenance, personalization. Now all your laptops, your not laptops, your mobile phones are called as PDAs. Do you know that? PDAs means personal digital assistants. Earlier, IAS officer used to keep one assistant, isn't it? Or ministers used to keep one assistant. Now all of us have kept one assistant. Only thing is, this is not human being as an assistant, but we have one digital device with us, which is our assistant. It's assistant because it reminds you of different meetings. It reminds you of the different messages that you receive. Wherever you are, you get information through WhatsApp and all. Whatever one assistant should do for me, mobile phone is doing. Isn't it? It's a PDA. So in that case, all of us have got personalized requirements. My requirements are different. Morning 4 o'clock, I want to wake up. Evening 5 o'clock, I want to go for walking. And that walking should be more than 10,000 steps. Isn't it? All these are my requirements. Same requirement need not be with a first year BTech guy. He need not have to go for a walk. So all our things can be personalized, and devices can be made to work for the personalized applications. That is possible because of AIML. Collection of data, IoT part. Taking decision, informing you as an assistant is a AIML part. Then anomaly detection already we have discussed. Environment monitoring, that we have discussed. Not discussed. If you see some recent data, you will be astonished. In big seas, oceans, a lot of plastic waste has been accumulated, because every time some plastic comes through rivers, ships, and that will be accumulated in one place. We will not be knowing that if there is no sensor to detect it. Slowly satellite images and all are used to identify, detect it. Initially satellite image is taken, but we do not know what is that, because it's a new thing. It is not water body, it is not a forest, it is not urban area, it's something else. What is it, something else, we need to decide. That is, we can keep monitoring our environment. People say that glaciers are melting in Antarctica and Arctic. What basis do they say? They will not go there and measure them. It's all because of data processing. We sense data. Satellite is a sensor. Satellite is a sensor. It senses the data. It sends video or images to you. Those images are to be analyzed. That we can do. Then resource optimization. I am doing something. I want to do it with the minimum resources. I should have a knowledge as what are the resources available, how best I can use them. Resource utilization, optimization. Smart transportation. Now your traffic signals, at least in big cities, traffic signals are based on the sensors. Earlier it was a static traffic control. 1 minute for this lane, 2 minutes for this lane, one minute for this lane. They used to set it and they used to maintain it like that. Even vehicles are there or not on that road, but it will be open for 1 minute. Now because of this IoT devices and AML algorithms, if road is busy, there are vehicles, then we can keep this. Otherwise you stop that and allow the vehicles to the next road. Smart transportation we call, or smart traffic control. Then data processing, data mining, data science. There are so many applications once we combine these two things, IoT and AML algorithms. Again, I don't know whether you'll be able to read them from the back or not. In general, we can divide the applications into some heads. So for the last two things, I did not write them in detail because of the lack of space. Now your sanitary disposal system of the city can be monitored by some AML algorithm. You are asked to separate wet waste, dry waste, because they have to go to separate places for processing. Slowly they will take what vehicle is to be sent to your locality, whether wet waste is produced more or dry waste. Based on that, they send different vehicles. So, and water supply plans, electricity supply plans, they are to be automatically maintained. So, real time collection of data from the fields, demand supply prediction for facilities like water supply and all, load balancing, dynamic traffic generation, control, all these things are done or possible. Smart cities we talk about, isn't it? Smart cities will use of all these applications. That's why they have big smart home. Earlier to smart city, smart home. You can put rice in a cooker. By the time you come back from the office, there will be a hot, ready to eat rice available. What basis? You can set all the timings, when it should on, when it should off, all those kind of things. Hmm. So there are so many things like manufacturing. We have remote monitoring and diagnosis, boiler monitoring and all we had studied earlier. Where people cannot go, their machines can sense and the decision can be taken. This particular part will not function after 2 days. Replace it today. That's called as remote sensing, sensing from the remote area. Then we have remote expert diagnosis. A doctor who is in Belgaum KLE can see a patient who is in a small village near Chikkodi, and they can give certain directions. You can save doctors traveling time because the KLE lab cannot be, ambience cannot be shifted to a village in Chikkodi, and this person who is staying in Chikkodi village cannot go there because it's not affordable. He doesn't want to go there, so many reasons. So remote expert diagnosis, that is possible only because of IoT and AML. Production line automation in the factory. Now you have a production line. People are not required. Earlier people used to do everything. Now at least assembling part machines can do. So likewise you have healthcare, remote doctor consultation, wellness and fitness programs, patients monitored, patients who are there in ICUs, monitoring them. ICUs, there are some sensors. They sense your pulse rate, they sense your BP, and those will be displayed on one small device what they have put there. Even in bigger hospitals now, if the data is collected, it is displayed. There it ends. Displayed means what are the physical conditions of that patient will be displayed there. At most, if it is going beyond certain limit, you will get an alarm. Then nurse or doctor has to attend that. It might be a small task of increasing oxygen level, but doctors have to come and do it, or nurse has to come and do it. If you attach an AML program with that, then that turning knob also can be done by one machine, isn't it? That's monitoring patients. Then nurses are not there, not required. Already because of AI and ML, computer scientists are losing jobs. Hmm. Next 5 years, we don't know whether computer students will have jobs or not. Don't take it's a light statement. It's a very serious statement I am doing. You might have heard about ChatGPT. How many of them you are using? You know that ChatGPT also generates programs. What will we do? We go to companies and we write some small programs, isn't it? In the beginning, majority of the programs which anybody is using in the world, they are already written, and they are now available online. So ChatGPT can take them and reproduce a new program. Then what is the role of computer scientists? The future is very feeble. You have to go beyond ChatGPT. Students have to reach beyond ChatGPT. Whatever ChatGPT does, we need to be capable of doing better than that. Then only we have a future. Otherwise, what happens? Have you heard about appendix? Appendix. No one has heard. All of us have got appendix. What is its role in human body? Hmm? It's extra part. Why God has given that extra part in human body? If no single component in this body is extra. Only human beings we uh, take something extra even if it is not necessary. Natural creation will not keep any extra thing if it is not required. Why is appendix there then? What is role of appendix? Hmm? Somebody said something. You can speak, no problem. Wrong answers are rewarded. Wrong answers will be given toffees. Do you know in cows and some animals, appendix is fully developed organ? In the case of grass grazing animals like cow, deer, buffalo, goat, appendix is a fully developed organ. Appendix is a part of which system of our body? It's a part of digestive system of our body. It is in between small intestine and large intestine. Its responsibility is digesting cellulose. Different parts of the body are responsible for digesting different things. We know that, isn't it? Bile juice digests what? Fat. Hmm? And this carbohydrate and all digested in mouth because of saliva. So different proteins are digested in stomach. Likewise. So cellulose digestion is the responsibility of appendix. Where is the cellulose? Cellulose in plant cells. Mainly cellulose lies in plant cell body, what is called cell wall, plant cell wall. Are we eating any raw plant leaves now? This part of India, some people are eating, at least we are, I eat methi and all, we eat raw, isn't it? Methi, mulli, all these things we eat raw. But 99% of the places, 99.9999% of the places, we do so many things on raw greeny leaves. We fry them, we boil them, so many things we do where that cellulose is lost. Cellulose contents are not there. Earlier, once human body came into existence, monkeys, even if you see monkeys now, they live on leaves, tree leaves, plant leaves. So we also used to live on plant leaves. That time appendix was developed. God has given that so that we are eating cellulose, it has to be digested. But slowly what we did, we stopped eating cellulose. Thousands of years we are not eating. Then God thought that there is no role of this part. It's not required for a human being. So it became what? Functionless. Functionless. We call it as vestigial organ. We call it as vestigial organ. Now ChatGPT is doing everything for us. Slowly we stop using brain. So after 1,000 years or 500 years, what God thinks? These people are not using brain anymore. So why should we keep brain as a functioning element? Then if brain becomes vestigial organs, think of the situation. Already majority of our things have become vestigial organs. Knowingly, unknowingly. So some 30, 40 years before, we had lot of Ayurveda knowledge. If something happens once we are in the field, we used to take some jadi booty, some leaves or something. Either we used to drink them or we used to press them and put there. Whatever has happened used to be created. Even now you think dogs, if something bad they eat and their stomach is upset, what do, you know, dogs? They eat some grass and leaves, specific grass and leaves, which causes them vomiting and it will be cured. That knowledge do we have now? That was the knowledge of human beings earlier. Ayurveda is all about that. That knowledge we don't have. So majority of us in the villages, now government is talking about, what is that? Which Bharat? Not Swachh Bharat. We were Swachh since the beginning. After this plastic came, all problems have started. I forgot that word. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat means what? We should be self-sufficient. We should be self-sufficient. We should not be dependent on anybody else. Just 30, 40 years before in the village, washerman used to wash clothes of all the people. Every day they used to come collect and wash the clothes. Farmer used to grow anaj for everyone. And this carpenter used to prepare utensils for all farmers. There was a blacksmith who used to do all this work for the farmers. And finally, once the day of harvesting comes, some jawar was given to washerman, some jawar gehu was given to blacksmith, something was given to carpenter, potter. They used to prepare earthen pots. Now people are saying if you prepare food in earthen pots is very healthy. But that we were doing long back. But now is there anybody who prepares pot? No, that knowledge altogether has gone. Carpentry, no one, maybe one or two families in one city or one small village, they are also not experts. Just on one day of Vijay Dashami, they remove all the utensils and they puja them and keep them inside again. Means that kind of knowledge has gone forever. Such a fast manner, just in 30-40 years, all those things we had observed when we were in our childhood, now it's not available. So this much fast way we are deteriorating, then end is not very far. End of knowledge. So we need to think. We were going at the different direction. That is not that is not the aim. So ML in IoT, these are all the areas. So we have, I think you can read smart home automation, healthcare, manufacturing, shopping, real-time decision making. Real-time decision making means now itself we should be able to take. We got data and we should be able to take a decision. Like if it's a weather forecasting, if your satellite sends some information which contains information that tomorrow morning 6 o'clock earthquake will come, and your AIML processing system will tell it tomorrow 10 o'clock. What is the use of that? It's not real time, isn't it? Real time means then and there itself it should take a decision, it should help. So for that you need to have strong ML algorithms. So these are all the applications. So now coming to how this machine learning can be used in speech processing. Is this introduction sufficient? What is a takeaway point here is IoT is responsible for collecting a data, but this data processing is major important thing. Just collecting data is not sufficient. Earlier human beings used to process this data, which used to take a lot of time. Sometimes there used to be some anomalies. We will not be able to present it in a proper form. So knowledge generation out of this data was a difficult task. From every data, knowledge has to be generated. Then only there is a use of data. Otherwise, there is no use of data. Now, fortunately, we have AIML algorithms and so many other supporting things also we need. Otherwise, AIML would have come 20 years before. Why is it coming now? AIML would have come 20 years before, isn't it? Why is it coming now? What is the reason? Hmm? Internet connection. Fine. Can we generalize it like hardware support? Now we have GPUs. Have you heard about GPUs? CPUs we had studied. CPU, central processing unit, GPUs, graphical processing units, which are 1,000 times faster. Earlier these kind of machines were not there. And this data processing, especially if data is in the form of video and image, it needs a lot of computational power. You have data, no computational power, it's of no use. You have computational power, no data, it's of no use. Both of them should be simultaneously available, then only it will happen. This is the era. If some 20-30 years before I want to study the pattern of flowers, say for example, my teacher has given me a problem, identify flower. That's my PhD project or MTech project. What was the thing that I have to do 20-30 years before? First I have to collect data set, isn't it? Data set I have to collect. Data set of all flowers. It was not available at that time. Digital cameras themselves were not available. If you want to take a photograph, that rolled one we used to use. And if you take one wrong photograph, some part of roll is moved and that is lost. Only 40 photos you used to get one roll of 110 rupees. Digital, it's not that easy just to take a photograph, you don't want to delete it. It was not like that. So at that time, if I want to do that research, I have to collect 1,000 images of flowers. I have to go to Falapushpa Pradarshan in Lalbagh, Bangalore, because once in a year it happens in August or January 26th. We have to wait up to that time, go there, take photographs, spend a lot of money on purchasing rolls. Now, If there is one good flower in my courtyard, Hittildalli, if there is one good flower, what will I do? Morning, take a photograph of that, write good morning, and send it to 1,000 people in your contacts. Isn't it? Oh, she has put one image, so I have to take one more. Other person will go and take one more picture and it will be sent. Likewise, 10,000 images of collecting 10,000 images of flowers is not a problem today. Data generation is very easily happening through social media and all. So one time data generation is happening. I gave one example of flower, but in all respects data is being generated. Fine. Any research that you want to do, where do you get data set now? Online resource. Where do you get? Kaggle. If you visit Kaggle, any research that you want to do, related data set is available. Data is abundantly available. Fine. So have you heard about Moore's law? What is Moore's law? Hmm? Every 18 months, students have to answer. You know this or not know? Don't know? If you do not know, you are not reading properly. Reading is not reading only textbook. Textbook is just to declare that you have passed some exam, textbooks are there. But if you want to have knowledge, you have to read beyond textbooks, in between the textbooks. That is a different thing. Let us not go into that. But Moore's law tells after every 18 months, the concentration of components on your IC chips will be doubled. So five transistors are required for me to construct AND gate. Instead of 5 transistors, now we have 15 transistors. Then 3 gates I can construct, isn't it? Likewise, the complexity of your IC chip is more now compared to earlier time. Means you will have more computational units in the same area. That's why your processors are so powerful now compared to processors of 1990s, 80s. So one side hardware development, one side data development. And there are so many people who are contributing through their intelligence to develop these algorithms. CNN algorithm, convolution neural network, CRNN, convolution and recurrent neural networks, LSTM, long short term memory, all these applications are developed. So once all of them come together, then only AI and ML applications can happen. These were not there 20 years before, so we did not have them. But now we have them, that is the advantage. So now speech is also speech collected. How do we collect speech? We collect speech through microphone. Microphone is sensor. Microphone is sensor, isn't it? Through this sensor, I collect speech and I have to process the speech. So for that, I have AML algorithms. For what purpose can I process speech? What do you mean by speech processing? There are two tasks of speech processing. One is understanding speech, another is synthesizing speech. Synthesizing speech means producing a speech. Your system should be able to produce speech and your system should be able to understand what I speak. Earlier, the mode of interaction with the system. Mode of interaction means how do I instruct my computer to do something? It was through text. Anyone has used DOS operating system? Used disk operating system. In case of disk operating system, majority of the times the commands that we write will be in the form of text. If I want to copy something, copy source directory, destination directory, all these things we used to write, which was difficult for the normal person. He has to imagine so many things, remember the command and then type it. So user base of computers was very less. Less people were using computers because of this kind of interaction problem. If a particular professor is not at all talking, very serious always, the students go to him. If professor is very serious, not talking to students, always with a grim face, the students go to him. They do not go because he is not user friendly. Likewise, whenever we want to work with the system, If mode of interaction is user friendly, then many people use it, isn't it? Later these characters have gone, communication medium has become icons. Windows operating system, you need not have to remember anything, command and all you did not have to remember, simply you have to remember right click, left click, drag and drop, double clicks and all these kind of things, which is mainly easy, isn't it? Now more simpler interaction mode has come than these icons. What is that? All of you are doing it, huh? You should be telling, you should tell, huh? Be louder. No, I'm talking about user interaction, which all of us are doing. Whether all of us are doing voice interaction, you said something else. One more thing you said immediately after that. Yes, touch pad. Because of that, you need not do single click, double click, drag and drop, memory, remember, all those things you do not have to do. Simply keep swiping, touching, whatever. That is the reason why now smartphones are being used by anybody and everybody. Even who do not have simple computer literacy, forget about computer literacy, normal literacy, a person who has not gone to school also can use all these smartphones very efficiently. It's because user interaction mode is very comfortable, friendly. Next more comfortable than this is would be, which would be more comfortable than this? We have to guess something for that, because that we are not using still. Which is more comfortable communication medium that we use now to talk to our parents, friends? Speech. Speech would be more natural one, isn't it? If you can talk to your computer as if I'm talking to you, it's a revolution. Tremendous. I can instruct my computer, open Windows, it'll open. Do this, it'll do. Type, I'm telling something, type it. It'll be telling, doing the things. It's more efficient mode of communication, isn't it? So that for that, your computer should be able to understand what we are speaking as users, what we are speaking, and you should be able to tell also answer to us in the form of speech. Now it is telling in the form of text, something comes on the screen and we read it. If that also starts speaking to us in the form of speech, it is a tremendous improvement, isn't it? That is a motivation for speech processing. We collect it from the sensor and it should be recognized. That is called a speech to text conversion. Once it is converted to text, I can read it, means system can understand it. Because now all our systems process text. I write something, it understands it, isn't it? But I say something, it will not understand. So text to speech, speech to text. Text to speech is generation of a speech, synthesizing speech. Speech to text is understanding speech. So that is an important addition to a system where we collect our speech through this microphone, through this sensor, and we develop certain algorithms to process this speech, which will be helpful for solving many problems. One of the important problems is user interface of the computing system. Fine. Um, so whenever you want me to stop, please raise your hand. One of you can raise your hand. I will stop, because this is application oriented. Whatever we cover next will be application oriented, means one of the applications is speech processing. So how will we do that? These are all interesting, much interesting than the things whatever we had studied earlier. So all of us speak, isn't it? Do you know how speech is produced? How is it produced? hmm? Who is telling? Who is telling? Please raise your hands. Raise your hand, tell me, be louder. Very good. Vocal folds or vocal cords vibration, the speech is produced. Just to put it in little elaborated way, so before we speak, we inhale air, isn't it? That air will be in the lungs, and that air comes out through our mouth or nose. We call it nasal cavity or oral cavity. So once it comes out, then a speech is produced. That air which is coming out will take different shape in our mouth. That will be radiated out as speech. This is very simple way I am explaining. And whatever he said, vocal folds vibration, there is one muscular component here at the throat. So once a threshold pressure is built up of the air, once it crosses certain threshold, this opens, air comes. Once a threshold falls, it closes. Again air stops. Again it wants to come out, builds a pressure, it opens, air comes. This is called a chunks of air. Small pieces of air. They come into mouth, modulated, then particular sound unit is produced that comes out. And all the organs inside your mouth, they behave in a particular manner once sound is to be produced. Say for example, can anybody pronounce here p without closing your lips? P. Try, you can try. You cannot, isn't it? P, p, b, bh, m. All these things we have to close our lips and produce. Likewise, if we want to produce ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, stoppage of air happens here. It might be difficult to feel that, but pa, pa, ba, ba, ma, you can see, isn't it? You can see and feel. Likewise, cha, ta, ta, pa. It's a systematic organization. So ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, cha, cha, ja, ja, ya. It was it's a very whenever I talk about this, I will be emotional, because this was done not less than 2000 years. This organization, arrangement of these things. Let me speak 1 or 2 minutes on that. So majority of us, how many of you have studied in English medium? No one has studied. You can raise hand, I will not say anything. Okay. So these many people have studied in English medium. One simple question: what is the base for arranging ABCDs in that manner? Whatever we have studied, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, up to Z. Why are they arranged like that? Was that taught to us in our primary schools? Primary schools or high schools, any literature? Why ABCDs are arranged in that order? I also searched a lot. One reason I got, that is, in LKGs and UKGs, once we make children to by heart that, we make them by heart in the form of some song, isn't it? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So the reason for arranging them is this rhythmic pronouncing what we can do. But if you see how this ka, ka, ga, ga, nga, cha, cha, ja, ja, ya they have arranged, it's enormous knowledge. Enormous knowledge. I don't go into the details of that. We call them as Vargiya Vyanjana. You know, all of you, Devanagari script, Vargiya Vyanjana, ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, ka varga, cha varga, ta varga. These are different vargas. In case of ka varga, stoppage of air happens at the velar position, at your throat. In case of pa varga, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma, stoppage happens at the labial level. And the stoppage moves from your throat to lips. Once you move from cha varga, ta varga, ta varga, pa varga. Ta varga, dental region happens. Ta, tha, stoppage of air happens at the dental region. Ta, just before that, we call it the retroflex region. Cha, palatal region before that. Ka, at the velar position, at the throat. And first one, ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, we call them as alpa prana. Alpa prana, where more air is not required to pronounce them. Kha, Mahaprana, more air is required to pronounce. More air we have to exhale. Ka, kha. Fine. Then ga, gha. Ga, gha. Whenever we produce sound, this sound is produced either by vibration of the vocal folds, what he said, opening and closing of the vocal folds here, or by without closing and opening of the vocal folds. Some sound units are there where these vocal folds do not vibrate, do not close and open. Fine. Once I say ka, is also added to that. But without adding if you pronounce, it will be k, isn't it? So whenever you pronounce k, these kind of things, vocal folds do not vibrate. They are called as unvoiced sound units. Whenever you produce g, g, j, vocal folds have to vibrate. All these things you can feel once you study more into it. Means first two characters, ka, kha, vocal folds do not vibrate, unvoiced. Ga, gha, vocal folds vibrate, they are called as voiced sound units. Nga, nga, ya, na, na, ma. What these things are? Anunasika. Anunasika means nasal sound units. This is a reason for arranging these words in this manner. It was taught by whom? Which Rishimuni? Who wrote Vyakarana Shastra? Patanjali. Nowadays we are hearing Patanjali's name lot. Panini wrote it. Patanjali because every day everyone wants to do some yoga, isn't it? Patanjali wrote Yoga Shastra, a book, Yoga Shastra. Vyakarana Shastra was written by Panini not lesser than 2500 years before. All these studies we are doing now, but they have got a knowledge of all these articulations, articulation of sound units, which are to be in Varga, means in a proper classification. Avargya Vyanjana Yara Lava. They cannot be classified into any one of these things. This knowledge those people had got. Similarly, who is a person who has written something about dance? All these studies were done by some gurukulas. Imagine a date where internet was not there. Internet was not. Now, if you want to do any write any paper and do some research, put something in Google and you get cut and paste, the paper comes. It was not the thing like that during that time. Transportation was not possible. Communication was not possible. They used to do all these things. They used to do experiments on their own. Then they used to write all these things. In Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, everything, which yoga is curing ailment of which part of your body. If you have some thyroid problem, what yogas are to be done? If you have stomach problem, what is to be done? It was explained to that level. Performing yoga, observing its results and doing it for longer time, reporting it, recording it, making it in the form of book. Imagine, is it possible in one lifetime? But they did it. Likewise, who did on dance? It's called as mother of all dances. What is the dance form? You know that Indian classical dance. No one knows Indian classical dance here. How many of you know Bharatanatyam? Only word or dancing also? Bharatanatyam is said as mother of all dance forms. Explaining every posture of Bharatanatyam was in one book known as One Who Knows Bharatanatyam. Do you know? No? Anybody knows Bharatanatyam? What is the name of the book? It is Natya Shastra. Natya Shastra written by Bharata Muni. Bharata Muni is name of the sage again. Everything they have experimented. Everything and anything they have done and they have documented it. And that we are not Charaka Sushruta, you know, Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita. Hmm? Hmm? Yes, Ayurveda. And when did we know that earth is round? When did we know that earth is round? Only when Copernicus said, or someone later said in 17th century or something like that. Hmm? But Varaha Avatara in the on the nose of that pig, we have whole Brahmanda. What was the shape of that? It was round. It was round. It was known that time to us, but we have ignored that. All those things are ignored. When did first aeroplane fly? 19 Rama Institute. No. That is prompt now which I am giving. But according to science, what we know is Wright brothers in 1902. Musuda. Tea break you want? 10 minutes. Yes. All of you can just I'll complete this on another nimsha. So we have record of first flying is 1902 by Wright brothers, but its mention is there in Ramayana way back 5000 years back. Because if we are not doing mentioning, that is not possible. Something we are not doing, can we mention it? Whenever something is written, something is mentioned, some example of that we must have seen. or we must have experienced, then only I can write it. It is not just imagination. Because of imagination, something will not happen. It's a fiction, that is different. Pushpaka Vimana was mentioned, means they had got a concept of flying from place to place, not one, two, three people together in a vehicle, isn't it? It's called as, nowadays it's being again brought into that Hakim story also, I said no. So all these things, it's called as now IKS. What is that? Have you heard about that? Indian knowledge system. VTU also is putting it as one of the subjects now. Means in any area we can explore. We can explore. Everywhere we had got experts. We had Atmanirbhar Bharat long back, but slowly it got deteriorated. Now we are dependent on everything for anybody else. Just you go and have a tea, come back in 5 minutes. We will continue for another half an hour and we will finish it off, or maybe before that. Thank you. Please go and come fast. If this is done, if identifying of a human being through its voice is done, you can avoid majority of these OTP based financial transactions. Major digital fraud is happening because of OTP based financial transactions. Somehow people come to know OTP, or they try to extract OTP from you, and then they use that OTP and withdraw some money and all those things they do. Instead of that, whenever some transaction is to be done, my authentication will be done through my voice. A call comes from bank server, then I'll say I'm Shashidhar. I'm Shashidhar is sufficient for it to understand whether he is Shashidhar or not. If bank server processes this twice and understands that I'm Shashidhar, then the transaction can be triggered, transfer of money or whatever it is. OTP and all are not required. Fine. But it's not that easy as I'm telling. There are a lot of challenges. Especially majority of the speech systems which are developed now, speech recognition, speech synthesis and all these, they are generated on the data set which is recorded in the anechoic room of a studio. Means these professional singers, they sing in a studio, film songs and all, they sing in a studio, isn't it? In studio there is no disturbance, there is no backside disturbance, background disturbance, and they produce all the things the way they want, intonation, emotion, whatever it is. So that kind of speech which is recorded in a studio, our machines can process very perfectly. But once there is a background noise, some music is there, somebody is speaking in between, I'm in a railway station, I'm in a market, there's a lot of background noise. Whenever background noise is there, all these speech systems which are commercially working now, they will fail. They will not give correct answer. They may recognize speaker for 60% of efficiency. Means if 100 speech samples are given, only in 60% of the cases they can recognize who is a speaker. That kind of system we cannot use in banking transactions. In that case, you have to speak 60 times to tell you are Shashidhar. Isn't it? It's very difficult, very impractical. So you need to improve the performance of the system. Even if you speak in real world situation, then your system should be able to recognize that. If you can do that, all these password based frauds, OTP based frauds, majority of them will be nullified. That is one thing. Other thing, you can give attendance to your voice. So how are you giving your attendance in the college now? How are you giving your attendance? Huh? Now, voice. Biometric. You are giving your attendance in the college, especially to teachers. You are putting your thumb and you are giving your attendance. And we enjoyed some privilege during COVID. What was that? Were we permitted to give biometric attendance? I don't know here, but in NITK they asked it cannot be used because COVID was spreading from contact, isn't it? So if I put my finger and I give my biometric attendance, I got a COVID, next person comes and puts it, he also gets COVID, isn't it? So the attendance, biometric attendance modes where direct contact comes are not feasible or preferable in some cases. If your biometric attendance is without contact, that is good. Voice is one best example for this. Voice can be used as biometric signature of a person. Means if you are able to identify correctly who is speaker as human beings, then it is a signature of that person, isn't it? Signature is unique to myself. When it's a signature of that person. So that signature, if it can be identifiable by machine, computer, then you can use it anywhere. It is contactless. Simply I can come and say in the morning, hello, then I can move, go. That is recognized by me and attendance is put. So voice can be used as biometric signature of a person. It's a signal, it is collected, it is left only playing back and hearing something. Song is recorded, we are playing it back and we are enjoying it. But there itself, its application is not over. We need to process it and use it for some useful purposes, like authentication of a person. Fine. So that way we can use it. And some other important things are now government has made one rule for age of marriages, isn't it? Male should be of this much age, female should be of this much age. What's the marriage age now? 21? 40? For girls 21. For boys 23. Who said? So then you are giving trouble to all eligible bachelors. It is, I don't know correctly, but it's 21 21. As I know, it's 21 for boys and 21. Earlier it was 18-21, girls and boys. Now it is 21-21. So how to, still recently one article has come in newspaper. 28,000 girls who are less than 18 years were mothers in Karnataka. Not Karnataka, it's in Karnataka only. 28,000. Means marriage of 28,000 girls is happening before age of permitted age. It is 21 now, earlier it was 18. And by 18 years they were mothers. By 17 years they were mothers. 16 years they were mothers. Marriage might have happened somewhere when they are 12, 13, 14, like that. How to identify this? How to identify? You also might have read in paper, whenever this child marriage happens, all documents are very systematically prepared to say that she is more than 18 years old and he is more than 21 years old. Means if you go through documents, solution is not there. Can we identify age of a person by his voice? It's possible. It's possible. If you see 80 years old person speaking, very easily you can identify he is very old aged. If a small child of 3 or 4 years old speaking, you can understand it's a child voice. Female voice you can understand. Male voice you can understand. Likewise, it is possible, according to today's technology, it is possible to identify age of a person also, not exactly the date, but at least with the tolerance of some months, some 6 months, 8 months, 1 year tolerance. You can identify age of a person, rough age of a person. Go to marriage hall whenever marriage is happening, ask him or her to speak in a microphone. There is one small program running background. It tells that rough age of this girl is this much. If the tolerance is 1 year and if your system is showing 14 years, anyway there is no chance that she can attain 18 years, isn't it? You can stop that marriage. You means officials. Age identification, very important application. Liquor is available to whom in the liquor shop? It should not, liquor, tobacco products should not be sold to people who are less than 18 years old. Fine, but still anyone can go and purchase. On behalf of using my brother's voter ID card, I can go and vote. Even if I am lesser age, that can be avoided. License can be given to whom? People above 18. RTO, how to check? RTO will not see a person at all, because now everything will move through agents, isn't it? RTO will see only your applications. If in the application record show you are above 18, it's given. But that system should change once we have this much technological development. We have to use all these technological developments and make them use for implementing the things for proper purposes. This can be done. Identification of age, identification of a gender can be done. If you have some audio recordings of fraud place, some what crime has happened, you have audio recordings of the crime area. If you analyze the speech, you can identify age of the people by sounds. You can identify gender of the people there. Then roughly you can come to know how many people are there, whether they are male or female, whether they are of what age. Then it makes your crime investigation very easy, isn't it? Or at least 60-70% of the problem space they can reduce. Instead of searching everyone and anyone, they can search now only within this criteria, the culprits. Fine. Likewise, if your system becomes capable of processing speech, there is huge scope. And speech translation you might have heard about. What speech translation? You might be knowing it more. Once Rahul Gandhi comes to your place, he will be giving a speech and somebody will be translating it. We have seen them for funny reasons, funny videos in WhatsApp and all, but many places it's a reality. Because if people do not know local language, if she has to go to railway station today, you need to have a speech translator, otherwise you can't. Means if you think a situation where you have a small app on your mobile, you speak to it in Tamil and it translates it into Kannada. Very easily you can say, I want a taxi. If it comes in Kannada, you can show it to some local rickshaw people and they can understand the things and they can do that. Fine. So such a case of speech translation systems, some extent they are available in very big languages like English. Big in the sense, I'm not telling because of its capacity, I'm telling because of its widespread use. Which is the richest language in India? Not India, world. Hmm? People from Tamil Nadu say Tamil, isn't it? In fact, Tamil, Kannada, these Dravidian languages are the richest languages in the world. One of the ancient languages, one of the 8 ancient languages, both Kannada and Tamil are there in that. And the language is so what? Versatile and capable. For every word we have, for every concept we have words. Let's not go into that again, it takes a lot of time. English is very generalized language which is used for communication, general communication, but a specific communication, English is not useful. Hmm. So if a language translator is there, then it would be very much helpful, one language to other language. And these language translators, do you have any comments on that, Rahul Gandhi's translation? What do they translate? And what else is necessary? Have you heard, have you seen those videos? Not seen. Anybody has seen? Seen? Yes. What is lacking there? Mistranslating once in the form of the words that they use. But in case of machines, it will not happen. If you train machines to do that, perfect words it uses, because human beings have got limitations of fetching those words and all, it might not be possible in case of human beings. But in case of machines, if you ask, perfect translation will be there. But even after that, what is lacking? What might be lacking? You can guess and tell now. Always, whenever I speak, I have intention. Intentions are normally not spoken deliberately. Intentions are hidden. But through that speech, I express my intentions. Fine. Through that speech, I express my intentions. These intentions are not transferred by the translators. They translate only words what Rahul Gandhi says. But the love that they want to show towards people, or with some election gimmick, that what is there in his mind and it is reflected in the intention in his voice, that cannot be reflected by the person, translator's voice. If you can bring that, that's also important, isn't it? So one example for that where intention is not expressed is, let's assume there's one competition in your child's school. Your child's friend gets first prize. Your child will not get. And all parents have gone and you go to congratulate your child's friend's parents. What do we say? Congratulations. Their intention was congratulations. Do we telling that congratulations from our heart? No. There's jealous behind. My child did not get and she or he got. We scold our child lot. Then we go there and we say congratulations, because we also want to keep some relations, isn't it? Intention was different and the word what we are saying is different. If we understand intentions, the relations can be better. Then many times we say that language is a very poor medium of communication, because language has got some words which will not express intentions. You should know how to read eyes, isn't it? There are so many things which we cannot express, can be expressed through our eyes, through our face. We are going into a different domain. Let's not explore that domain. But that's true. That's true. Intention is important than what has been spoken. We are not able to understand intentions. That's what there is. There are fightings every day in home, in college, between friends and all that. I intended you to do this, but you did that. But you said that, so I did this. Saying is different, intention is different. Intention identification from speech is also important. That can be identified, that can be processed. So all these things can be given as small projects to your BTech or MTech students and ask them to explore that in your local language especially. Nice outcomes you'll get. You'll be thrilled by them. Then, then if I want to hear Kishore Kumar's sad songs, Kishore Kumar's sad songs from the YouTube. So if I type Kishore Kumar sad songs, what kind of songs, on what basis songs are listed to me? Yeah. Is it always that way? How does your YouTube search for sad songs? It searches based on title of that file. If it is there in the title that Kishore Kumar sad song, then only, or wherever that word sad is there, it lists that. Outside side or inside something else. You have one romantic song and name of that is sad song. That also is listed, isn't it? Content based information storage and retrieval can we do? Means 1 second of that song itself you process, your system should process. It should decide it is Kishore Kumar only, speaker identification. It should decide this is the emotion, sad emotion only. Then give a title to it and archive it, save it. So whenever we want, we can retrieve it and we can use it, isn't it? This is called as content based information retrieval. So all these are the applications in speech area: recognition of speaker, recognition of age, recognition of a gender, then speech translation, intention translation, all these things, small problems we can discuss. I think there are so many things to be explained, discussed. One day also might not be sufficient, but we could do some basic things in this IoT and AIML. If they are combined, what happens? Different applications we have seen, and also particular case studies in case of speech processing, that also we have seen. Are there any questions? We will stop now because many people have got many assignments and we have got trains and so many things we have to catch them. Yes. Any quick questions? Or any of, not only questions, your observation, what did you get or you did not get anything, so whatever, just you can share your comments. That would be useful to the organizers and to us also. Any questions, whatever we had discussed? No questions, madam? What kind of research laboratories you want? No, in computers, any field of computer science, we do not need much infrastructure. Some good computers and internet, and probably in IoT lab and all, we need some sensors and those kind of things. So those are available. Much investment like mechanical engineering laboratory, civil engineering laboratory, we don't need. Good computers, internet, and some devices. Those are there. Many people are working on that. We have servers. One server's cost is around 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs rupees. Servers we have. Especially for, as I was discussing, for machine learning applications, running those things, they work on huge data, very big data. So whenever big data is there, we need to have high computational power machines, systems, GPUs. So those only will help us to work. Those are there. Real time in case of real time applications, data is collected real time, processed real time, and results are given real time. That we are not doing. At least in speech processing, I am not doing that. But it is good. The way you are speaking, it should be recorded and it should be processed and answer should be given to you. That is possible once we have voice based interaction. I say something to my computer, it understands, process it, and it answers you back. That's real time. Or your GPS system, whatever you are using, you put a map, isn't it? Only that tells you because it's processed, already processed and readily built system. But if you have a doubt, if you can ask a question and it can process that question and answer you back, it's good. Yesterday I was telling 2 rounds we were taking in the same area. That time if I have a question, no, I'm not getting a not getting a path, then it should tell you. something, isn't it? That's the real time processing. Any internship programs are there? Internship programs are there. Earlier there were fellowship programs. Recently they are stopped after COVID because all of us are finding resource crunch, isn't it? Earlier we used to give 100 rupees for a student who comes for internship to meet out his staying and food expenses. But now that's not given. If any student wants to come, he has to come on his own expenses, stay there. Normally in the month of April, March, April, we call for that. We get different applications in each department. Some positions are there, two people through three people we can take. So we shortlist and we take the students. That you can come on your own expenses by contacting specific faculty member. If he or she also willing to accommodate, then you can come definitely. But there is one scheme recently we have started, that's PDF, postdoctoral fellowship. um, a person can come for 2 years, stay there, stipend of 50,000 will be given, and he or she can work for 2 years and then do something useful. That's PDF of postdoctoral fellowship in NITK. No questions related to talk? Okay. I thank organizers, Golagi sir, Sanjay sir, principal, and the Scaly CET's management for giving me an opportunity to see all of you, to see this college. It is nice time to be with you. I hope same thing from your side also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge. We appreciate all the valuable insights you have provided. I would like to request Dr. Sanjay Pujari, HOD of ENC, to present the memento to our today's resource person. Thank you, sir. The second session to be held is article discussion by Dr. Sanjay Ankli from KLECET Chikodi. I would request Sneha Shirati to introduce our resource person to the gathering.